Hello and welcome everyone to another Let's Play with the Developers. My name is Raycoms and I'm here together with Sam Letters, and we are two of the main developers behind Minecolonies. Thank everyone for already being here with us. We are here today live on our Patreon server in our colony in the Nether here. We've been away for a few days working on the schematic server, and which we will be doing tomorrow as well. But today we will look again in our nether colony and make sure that there is some progress in general here as well. Hi Sam as well. Are you on? Yes. Hi Sam. You can't hear me on Discord at the moment. That's going to be fun. Okay, now Sam can hear me as well. Hi Sam.
Hi. What, did you mute me now?
And no, I still had push to talk enabled of earlier. Oh yeah, and disabling push to talk again made the mic blow up. I'm sorry. It should be good now again, isn't it? Still bad loud? No, it should be fine, right? Okay, everyone was just like,
for me, you are fine.
Yeah, it's always when I
low,
adjust something in Discord is like, I can't hear you. And messes with my audio settings. So hi Sevlog, hi TTView, Nick Plays, hi John, thanks a lot for the 10th month subscription, highly appreciated. Hi Tumo Sapiens. Hi Dextraxium, and hi Mime Ninja, and hi there Sevlog as well. So we're already getting 117 questions, and it's impossible, absolutely impossible to say how long it will take to port our mod, and similarly difficult, or even more difficult, to say how long it will take to assemble a mod pack. So in general, I would probably assemble a very vanilla mod pack early on. When is 118 available? Yes, I would probably assemble a very simple mod pack early on, and then slowly, and then be fine with that, and then a few months later, a year later, then have a real mod pack, because I assume that it will take around 6 months to have most of the big mods over, and that especially will be for biome mods. As far as I'm reading, they're rewriting most of the biome handling, so I'm pretty sure that a lot of World Gen mods will have a lot of fun with that. You needing logs? Yeah, but I think also Biome No Plenty, etc. will have a huge pain initially to integrate all those changes, so those mods will take a long time. In general, we do not know yet a lot of other things that will change. For us, I think in general even the Forge rewrite parts won't change a lot. Probably the most difficult part is getting used to the Mojang mappings then. So like, what is this entity thing again? Because everything will then be called different. I think tile entities will be called block entities, so that's not so bad. But there's still a lot of things that are going to be hard for us. But in general, we probably won't be the main affected ones. That's always very difficult to say. Sometimes there are some nasty reworks for us.
Yeah, usually we end up like no longer using the vanilla parts in question, and just like redo them ourselves, so we don't have to run into issues again.
Basically, the thing we do almost every new version is when there's a thing that's a pain to do, we just rework it. We're just okay, so I'll do it myself. I'm going to just replicate this functionality.
We got more control over it.
Doesn't
change when Minecraft updates.
Yeah, there's a lot of advantages from that. Oh, those trees here. And we do need some to grow some trees here. They're all gone. So that's
Oh
why
yeah, this one is too big again.
that's why our lumberjack is also not producing anything at the moment. But that's not a problem, because then we have to bone meal it manually now. Jim. And I will get some bone meal quickly. Yeah, I believe it depends a lot. So for once, obviously it's a big update, so it will take a while to establish. On the other hand, I think it's the update that will motivate modders to go to, because users will want those caves. We don't have any bones here. The worst thing they could do is change pathing entities. That wouldn't actually affect us a lot, because we do all our pathing almost ourselves entirely.
Yeah, because
So we would
the passing issue like happened many versions ago already.
So basically, if they really like redid pathing or so, we would just copy some old pathing stuff over. Like we extend a few classes with and reuse a little bit of the Mojang code there. It would just be copying 2-3 classes forwards and then using them. That would not be painful port-wise, I would say. Dead colony, here we go. I need to bone meal those leaves, those trees now. So, what would be the worst thing they could do? So, on our side, there's actually not much really bad thing they could do, because we switched entirely to forge inventory handling to item handlers from II. That was a pain in the past when we went from I inventory to the inventory to the others. That was a pain.
Yeah.
But it's also not a problem anymore, because we are now using our own system. The forge system, and that won't change. Item handlers are so well fleshed out. Containers were just rewritten. They just got an update, so I don't think they will do a lot with containers. Although those are also forge strategy systems, etc. So I don't think a lot of things will change on that end. On our end, it's probably more like... Probably if they mess a lot with entities, like stupid stuff with entities might be annoying. I could... Maybe they would remove the goal system, but we would just... Our system is already so independent of the goal system that we would just make all of it... Sameta's still throwing X at me. We would...
Yeah, we don't need their goal system at all.
We do actually don't need it. It's just for laziness.
It's just like automatically ticked now.
Yeah.
And if they removed that, then we would just like on living update ticket ourselves.
Yep, basically that.
Since it's already custom.
And the other goals we would just transform to state machines as well. Although that's something we still need. We still need a proper big state machine, so that we do not need vanilla goals anymore. That would be something nice.
Yeah.
To be honest. Like, I would really like to not have, like, okay, we do not have any goals at all anymore, and Mojang can do whatever they want as long as an entity ticks, we're fine. Doing something that would mess with chunk capabilities of Forge would be a pain, because we need those. But then again, that would be something like, okay, so the first porting version won't have the anti-grief handling. That could be worse.
Yeah.
We have control over interactions with citizens anyway, so we can provide those, we can protect those, and the citizen chests could even protect all the wrecks within the colony easily, and then just have the other things come later when Forge gets those fixed. But
and annoying stuff is like mostly where we are actually using vanilla stuff, like Cowhair does, where we have to use like vanilla entities.
Yes. So
and Lumberjack when trees chains.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are like more like these world interactions, right?
Yeah.
So interacting with entities in the world, but also usually like small annoyances that cost a lot of time but are actually not difficult to port. I think I do need more bone blocks again. Out of bones. Let me check out the research. So we have no research in progress. Combat, we have the new tree here. So what can we research at the moment? Guards take less damage when fleeing. Yeah, very pretty, isn't it? What else? That needs stonemason level. So crusher we could unlock already. We have all the requirements. Sieving not yet. That is easier to see as well for what we have the requirements now. Do we want a crusher? Do we want more recipes? Glass blower. I'm actually wanting to get the hot boots here, so we do need the Fletcher first. So let me get some 16 string here. I want the minor lava resistancy. So let me get some 16 string, run that up. I could have gotten a few other things, because we do need other research as well in general. So we do have a level 3 university, so I can already. I think we only have one researcher though, don't we?
Sure. But we only have one builder as well, because one died.
One died just now?
Yeah.
Oh no, Jordan.
Somewhere in lava. Some demon must have pushed him off.
So that is here. Started. We only have one here, yes. Was it mine or was it your builder?
Mine.
So it's not so bad.
Surprise.
So let's. Evelyn is still alive and still needing those ward blocks. We do need that graveyard, yes. We got someone working on that and making, I think, decent progress. Jim. Now Lumberjack. Okay, she's currently working. Work it. What is it? Happy International Women's Day to all potential viewers, watchers, female watchers. That was today. It's like things you only know when you look on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, to be completely fair, I would miss my mother's birthday if I wouldn't have it saved in the calendar on my cell phone. It's even so far that my father and my sister both sent me a message on my father's birthday say, don't forget it. Yeah, good idea to give it a sword here. I'm kinda very bad with knowing what day is it today. I don't look often on the date, and I don't associate dates with everything. It was always one of the things I was really bad, where I got a lot of bad grades in many subjects, because there are a lot of teachers that think that dates matter anything. besides quiz shows. Come on, the only real thing where date matters is in a quiz show.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on.
It's like, who won 1988 the gold medal in Olympic swimming? Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Like, what's the...
First of all, who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
First of all, who cares? Come on, give me important dates. And second, it's like, these exact date things like are so nasty. Okay, you do not have to know the exact day any of the way World War started. You just have to know it was around the 30s, 40s, that it around the 30s, that it's end of the 30s it started,
fine, right?
and mid 40s that it ended, right? Approximate dates are important because you need those to kind of have a sense of direction in history, right? It's like when what was it? In class we had like people asking, the teacher asking, what was the novelty in the second industrial revolution? And the student was computers. Which was like, okay, that is the third industrial revolution.
It's kind of funny how in all these like general knowledge and quiz shows, there's like never any tech questions. Like tech never plays a role, but it's so big these days.
Technically, depending on the country, the war started at different dates, but like in practice you can say the World War II started when Germany invaded Poland. That's... Although you could say that's when the war started. It was not a world war yet. It was just a war that started there. It only became a world war. Then it's like, then you get really in the meta stuff, like, so how many countries do it have to be involved to be a world war? Like, then you could say actually it only became a world war with the invasion in the Normandy at the end, because that was when really a lot of countries were involved. So I'm going to move out. I will get some wool blocks and I will try to find some bone blocks as well. But yeah, I never got those date questions. I was always like, why asking so many dates and stuff? Reminds me when I did my final high school exams. I was very lazy, so I did as with the oral exam in physical education, and I did it about doping. And first of all, doping is such an interesting topic, because theoretically the fairest thing would be allowing doping, because then everyone is competing on the same level. But on the other hand, you're just destroying people's health even worse than you're already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff we only remember because it's ingrained in our brains, those dates, yes. And then like in the oral exam, like they didn't know what to ask. So one of the questions was like, oh, did you know, and then name dropping some Olympian athlete, and I was like, no. And they're like, oh, they were a famous doping case. I'm like, okay. And this is important. Why? Why don't you ask me something like biological about doping or philosophical or whatever, just not this. Strip blocks it is as well, right? Yes. I need to strip them before. Yeah, there's always those questions that teachers ask because they have to evaluate you on something arbitrarily. because they have to give you a grade and they don't know any better questions. Blood doping cycling races are famous. Aren't just all of them blood doping races? Yeah. Come on, it's like in these strongman competitions. You can't tell me that that there is one there that didn't inject testosterone. You can't tell me that in those strongman competitions. Like in the ones on in the Olympics, maybe not so, but in those like real strongman competitions, these guys are like enormous. Guys and girls are enormous. You can't tell me that there's one of them, even one of them, that didn't dope, because I'm sure that all of them just like taking testosterone like we do in our morning coffee. You don't get so enormous by just training. So maybe it's all the chicken they eat, because that one gets already hormones at the factory. Might be a way to it. Like, no, I'm not doped, I just ate a lot of chicken. That might be. So I'm seeing a lot of nether portals around here. Trying to find some bone blocks again. Almost out of bone. It's mushroom. Hi there, Anonymous, how are you doing? But yeah. So I'm nicely progressing in my real world assignment stuff. I'm not progressing a lot with my experiments, because I'm giving my prof a few days time, and if he doesn't come up with something, I'm going to tell him that his simulation software is maybe not good for our specific use case. So, because it takes 50% of this total CPU usage. No, it's not 50%. To be honest, I had around 20 processes per server, and the 20 processes that I was using were at 30% CPU usage, and the 10 simulation processes were at 99% each. So it's a ton of CPU that needs, and that's kind of like destroying the validity of my results, right? So like, oh, it's supposed to bottleneck at the bandwidth, but it's bottlenecking at the CPU, even though calculation-wise we shouldn't be even close to that yet, but just because the simulation is costing so much performance. You got a paper deadline in around 30 hours. What's the paper about? So machine learning stuff. So gotta kill this ghast here. Ouch. Nasty gas. Die, gas, die. Have to get closer. What are you sending it to? A nice international journal, or I don't know. Journal usually don't have deadlines, so it's some conference. Hey, I'm much happier sending stuff to conferences now because I don't have to travel. I don't have to travel to the other end of the world to present it, and I'm not feeling bad about all the CO2 the flight costs. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of conferences are actually talking about possibilitating remote participation in the future as well. Because to be honest, all of that also kind of increases this kind of increases the injustice as well. So small universities, even if they have excellent results, might not be able to afford being able to go to travel to the other end of the world to present their results.
Yeah, like all people for the conferences traveling there is such a big overhead, right, compared to just volume.
Yes, but at the same time, the thing is, like, publishing. Not sure if it's how it's in machine learning, but in my like in distributed systems, almost no one publishes in journals because it just takes so long to get accepted. Because the review process is so long because there's no deadline. The conference has a deadline because the conference is going to be in 6 months from now, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a deadline and you get the paper reviewed in due time and you can continue working. While in a journal paper, like my journal paper that I published took 2 years. So it was like the first phase of the revision process took 1.5 years almost. Afterwards it was a little bit faster. It took a long time. It was luckily we got it's in a prestigious one. So it was at least somewhat worth it. But it was still long time, and it was like, okay, how am I going to tell them that now 2 years later I'm already working on something completely different and I really don't feel like adjusting my prototype to make more experiments. But luckily we didn't have to run any additional experiments, else it would have been a major pain.
Yeah.
So conferences are just much more comfortable. Just the traveling overhead should be optional. Like I do get that those conferences are like super nice because it allows people to connect much more easily than connecting through an online conference. People can discuss in person the results, and you can find kind of research corporations basically. Which it's much harder doing that through a Zoom call in a group. And the motivation is significantly less as well. Like if the conference is online, you will just watch a few talks and then you do your general work. Well, now, okay, I already traveled to a different country. Now I will spend the time here at the conference talking with people about stuff. There's also that as well. But I do definitely think there should be like... Yeah, conferences are about networking, not about the papers, exactly. But I do believe that that should be at least you should be able to opt out of it. Like, okay, I would like to not present it there and would like to save the money, time and CO2 and maybe go only to one conference a year or something like this, which is already plenty of CO2 for that. So, do we need some blackstone? How are we on blackstone in our colony?
Kind of okay, I think.
But yeah.
At least our ship has some.
Like, there was a conference I went to which was relatively funny. It was a relatively small conference, but it counts relatively high in the Brazilian ranking. True. So we did publish there, and the relatively funny thing was that like a lot of the Chinese people that published in that conference didn't speak English. They basically wrote the paper in Chinese, someone translated it for them, and someone prepared an English presentation for them and the English text, and they were just basically reading the text. Which made it almost impossible to comprehend what they were talking about. It was absolutely horrible. Like, I was sitting in a few of those talks, like I was interested in some of the other talks that were there, and I was like, what? I'm not able to understand anything. And you could see that I was not the only one, because there were 0 questions after those talks. No one had any question, because no one understood anything they were talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of always a good indicator. No one is asking questions. Don't think anyone got it.
I think no one actually was, either no one was able to pay attention because it was hard, or no one understood what they were talking about. Yeah. No, usually they have actually dedicated translators for that, I believe. There's kind of a staircase here, so the user has some setting here. Hi there, Sad Horizon, how you been? But it's relatively interesting. Have fun in the lab. Go there. Leave. So, Sam, make Ray fall in lava. That's evil. That's just evil. So let me get some more of those warped logs from this random forest I found here. So, oh yeah, I almost forgot talking. If you're still here, you're working with machine learning. So are you working for the bad side or for the good side?
Oh, good question.
Are you
Skynet or not Skynet?
It's Skynet or not Skynet, but not only that, but is it big corporation selling us advertisement, or is it creating more privacy prone AIs where you can anonymize data more better and these kinds of things. So I was these days, there was a bunch of machine learning talks, and out of the 10 talks, 8 talked about autonomous cars. It was like at university. Was still relatively funny. It's probably like for distributed system people. We are all like, so why is this does this make sense? And we're just like blockchain. Everyone like for machine learning, it's like it's autonomous cars and advertisement. Everyone like For basically all the AI
just gotta know the right buzzwords, right?
Like there's a lot of AI stuff. Don't get me wrong, but the stuff that is like really has really big industrial interest is basically the advertisement part, mostly. Machine learning for writing technical articles. They're already having machines write technical articles that put you out of work. So, do I have some iron? Oh, but I think I'm fine. I didn't know that they had already machines writing those articles.
Well, I guess those articles might not be that great yet, but you can like use them to publish content, so to say.
It's like, I think it's probably one of those classical cases like modern journalism, like it's not good, but
Yeah.
the caption it generated will get us a lot of clicks.
See, then you can sell articles and as many as you want.
Yeah, it's probably that, the classic. It's not good. It's like modern journalism. It's absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
Like you seriously can't open a newspaper anymore without reading about the royal family, and I'm just like, who gives a crap about this?
Yeah. And many important stuff going on in the world isn't even mentioned. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's all about like, all our systems became so quantitative, like although that is something that's like increasing with the entire, throughout the third industrial revolution, everything is more about quantity rather than quality, right? So we're selling 100 t-shirts rather than 2 that are people are going to be able to wear actually for more than a year, with all this fast fashion crap. Oh, but that's why I said there's like the good side of machine learning and AI, and that is like solving complex mathematical problems, simulating physical, chemical, etc. processes, and all these kinds of things. That's the positive side of machine learning. But then it's the side where it's actually, that's the side that's used mostly in the academic context, right? But then there's the machine learning, which is actually the most commonly used in the industry, and that is usually for just manipulating people. How can we sell more of our product? Make a better product. How about we start with that?
What? No. Put more money into advertisement.
Yeah,
Name
like,
it differently.
Yeah, it's like, what could we do to sell more of our products? Make it more environmentally friendly. Make it healthier. Make it taste better. How about we spend $1 million on Facebook ads? I think that's going to get us some sales.
Yeah, much better, right? Than making your product better.
And we're basically back to this basic law of capitalism and make it more addictive. That they're good in as well, yes. Make it more addictive, they're also great in. We're basically back to this basic law of capitalism, of the user makes conscious decisions and it's a voluntary participation in the market. And it's like voluntary participation if the company is really working very heavily on making you believe that you have to have this product. There's not, and manipulating people to make you want to have this product. It's like this thing in what is this game, Fortnite, right? So you can play Fortnite for free, but actually you can't. Did you hear about that one already, Sam?
No.
It's because players with the free skins get targeted in all games. You get targeted if you have a free. You kind of get mobbed for not affording a skin.
Yeah.
Forcing people to spend money on the things, and even kids get mobbed in school for not having a custom skin in Fortnite, etc. And it's like, where is the voluntary participation in this market? That's not voluntary. That's not how voluntary participation works.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like housing market, there's no voluntary participation at all. Healthcare, you can't choose voluntarily if you want a treatment or not. Besides, the entire culture around consumerism is just absolutely gross. Like the average, what was it? The average American buys 80, 90 pieces of clothing per year, something like this. And people just buying and buying and buying. Come on, what do you need? You need
pieces of clothing a year.
You need like 3 jeans. Like let's say like you need 3 jeans and 3 t-shirts and 3 pullovers and 2 good jackets and 2 pairs of shoes. That's almost what you need.
Yeah.
That's basically.
And normally those last quite a while as well. Right?
And especially like jeans last usually a long time. If you spend a little bit more with the jeans, it's going to really last a long time.
I think last year I bought maybe 3 things of clothing.
On average, I buy around 3 pieces. I think I didn't buy any pieces of clothes, and most clothes I get through birthday presents though, because I personally bought like 1 t-shirt last year or so. I did buy 2 pairs of shoes in the last 6 years, I think. Because shoes, they last 2 or 3 years easily. I did hear you should
unless you like get super cheap, unhealthy ones which fail super early.
Throwaway shoes that cost half the price and last a 10th of the lifetime, yeah, they don't.
Yeah, and are like super unhealthy for you.
And are horrible for your health. Yes.
Right.
I did hear that you should have 2 shoes anyway, because if you give a longer walk with 1 shoe, the next day you should use the other shoe to have that 1 shoe kind of like recover basically.
Interesting, didn't know that.
So yeah. And since I'm a flat foot, I have to be a bit more careful as well. Which doesn't help that I'm walking around in Brazil with flip-flops 90% of the year.
Yeah, that's for sure the best ones.
Those are for sure the best shoes to take. I did buy flip-flop from Crocs now. Those are like significantly better and have like a healthy shape as well, etc. They're not just like flat. And they're like also very durable, so I barely have to buy a new one too.
That's nice.
So that's the alternative that I got. But in general, I barely buy stuff as well because it's just so unnecessary. Like, why buy so much stuff? People that buy a new outfit for every wedding they go, buy a new outfit for every like special occasion. Like, why? Just to cover insecurities capitalism is causing, and then that is, you're not special. You need clothes to feel special. You're going to buy a lot of stuff to feel special again. I see it more pragmatically. I think everyone is special, and most people are especially shit. But everyone is special in their own way. So, how are the trees going? Do we have that one still? That one here should be good to I think the lumberjack is needing something. Let me check the requests. Should have done that first. Yes. Waiting for a hoe. Where is that in the queue? Oh, that's being delivered as we speak, actually. There. He just walked. Was that the courier that delivered the hoe? No, that was the courier that delivered the hoe. Okay, so the lumberjack is working. Yeah, that was a scan issue with the schematics, indeed. So my builder should have got... Ah, the other one picked, I think, the materials up for my builder. Nope. Let me check my builder again. So it's at the forester in the queue. Let me check with my forester. Fail jump. So you're not doing anything. You have around 35 stripped stems here. Is it now? Yeah, okay. So she did just finish it. The moment I looked at her inventory, she had dumped it already. And I was like, something is wrong. There she is.
Not good enough, eh?
Now she got everything for the career update. Great. But yeah, all the consumerism stuff, making people believe they need things. I'm not sure what is worse, like people really believing they need that stuff, or companies making them believe. And people buying a new phone every year. Like I just bought a new battery for my cell phone. I'm like, wow, this phone is almost as new. Camera is a little bit meh, but you don't need a new cell phone all the time. Like new cell phone every what, 5-6 years. Especially if you invest a little bit more, it's just perfectly fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, Mr. Seminus. The problem is if you buy a cheap phone, that's kind of also a problem. A new battery will cost as much as the phone cost. Especially if you go through the official vendors. Like, okay, I'm going to pay $100 for this new battery, and for that price I put in 50 on it and I get a cell phone that's better than that was in the past. So... a builder is progressing. The farming is already so automated, it's giving us less work to do as well again. Oh, did the other research finish, by the way? So that I can place the stone smelter actually.
Not sure, maybe.
Let me check that actually.
I mean, we can also like make more builders. So we have more to do.
That is always a possibility as well. What do we have here? So we have the stonemason. The other one is unlocking the Fletcher, still needing 45 minutes. Right, it's displaying it nicely now, isn't it? The iron, we have the blacksmith, and we have the composter. Yours was walking on the composter, wasn't it? Yeah, we don't have the... we have here stone smeltery, yes. So we'll get the stone smeltery. And yours is still working on the composter, by the way?
No, delivery man.
Also delivery man?
Yeah.
I saw her go down, maybe the tasks got switched up now a little bit. So now go to the ship. We want a stone smeltery block. So, what do we need? 2 stone bricks. Okay. 2 bricks. And some planks. What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planks. And a build tool. Was it that? Or did I miscalculate? Was it? the furnace. That was the part that I miscalculated. So here we go, stone smeltery. We can place that one down in our corner upstairs now. Here we go. That will go there, next to the stone. What is this one here? Stone mason. Dum dum dum. Hot block of the stone mason. Ah, here. Yes. We did teach all the remaining recipes, I remember. Awesome. So here we go for the stone smeltery in the warp style, obviously. So we want that. What? Fail. I fell into the hole. That's I guess the reason the builder made this hole, for me to fall into it. So do we want, it doesn't fully align with this, but this one here is a fail anyway, so I guess we do want it to align like this, because then it aligns exactly. And how does it look like on level 5? I probably want that to go all the way back here, right? That looks best. Aligned like this. Yes, that looks actually perfect. Done. Build, and that's for Evelyn. Oh, we have a Karen now as the other builder. Let's hope she's not going to go to the manager.
Yeah.
Ah, you just tried the build request. Oh, she
Yeah,
will.
another citizen.
She will ask for the manager, and she won't wear a mask, will she?
Oh, of course not.
The new Karens, they're taking away my freedom. No. If someone has a complaint, Wizzy is the manager. If someone has the money or wants to give us a, how do I say it? Want to say something positive, I'm the manager. So, technically, who used to be the project manager was Peter, the British guy, but after he left, I became mostly the main project manager, and the rest of the project manager duties were like split evenly over all the maintainers.
Yeah.
So there we go. And that's good. Projects should be decentralized and try to the least to hinge on a single person.
Yeah, it's good to end up like Forge.
Also end up
Got
like
a lot of
Forge.
systems and only one person who can do the with her.
Yeah, so usually it's like I'm more for the main thing when I'm really needed is then like conflict resolution. It's like one says one thing, the other says the other thing. It's like, what do we go with?
B, no, A, no, B. But everyone like knows that option B is always better, right? Because it's B.
It's B, yeah. Like it was like such. It was so funny. It's like So Azure PM'd me and was like, I think you should check in the discussion channel and find a solution or so. And I was like, Orion discussing with Morality about the pull request fixing the UTF-8 encoding of the lang files. And Orion's like, no, we have to remove all the special strings from the lang files. And the other, no, but that's valid. And it's like, okay, first of all, the fix is needed if we have those strings there or not, right? And Orion like, yes, right. So okay, so the fix we're going to merge now. We don't have to discuss the fix anymore. So the only thing we have to discuss is if we want to keep those things there or not, but without urgency, because we need the fix only right now, right? Which I'm basically, by the way, in favor of keeping the langs, being able to have colors in the lang file.
Yeah, it's hard to break them out.
I think because if you have those, you want to have like a colorful word in the middle of a sentence, it gets much more complicated for translators to handle that. And then like if you have multiple ones, it gets really painful to make like 1,000 lang strings for one thing, just because you want to have a bunch of things colorful.
Screw translations. People can learn English. It's important.
Yeah, it's like...
Oh, learn it now.
Yeah, nowadays it's like I said, English doesn't belong to the English anymore, nor to the Americans. English is like belongs to the world, since there are more non-native English speakers than native English speakers. So, so we own. You don't tell us how to pronounce things. But it is just useful as an easy to learn language for most Western for most Western countries at least. It's an easy to learn language.
Kinda need it like for almost all international stuff.
And the only countries that have
like super international.
So it allows us to have like a nice way to interact with other cultures without everyone having to learn like a quadratic quantity of languages, right? So if you want to learn talk with a German, you have to learn German, and I do not want that everyone has to learn German. It would just be horrible. And even it's like, in my opinion, scientific papers should just be all in English, and it's like, yeah, no, we want to maintain other languages as scientific languages as well, and I know German's one for mechanic stuff still to be German, but it's just not practical, and so we just so it's difficult. So I know that English is harder to learn for for Chinese people, Japanese, Chinese, Japanese. So most Asian countries, it's difficult to say most Asian countries, it's such a huge country. Like Arabic countries have nothing to do with Asian, with the Chinese, and the Indians mostly know English already. But I guess the only two cases where English is like the worst option is for a few African countries where French has been imposed by the French government to maintain control over their ex-colonies. So English would even help them to become more independent as well. Probably the eastern part of Europe, like Russia, Ukraine, etc. For them, learning Russian is significantly easier because their languages are more related to that. And then China, Japan, Thailand, etc. They have also have bigger issues as well with that. But I guess it's impossible to find a language that will fit for all three, right? Even Esperanto would be more European based as well, wouldn't help them a lot. English is super easy if you compare it to most languages. You do not have to do basically any conjugations, so that's great. Like in most Latin and German languages, you have like one conjugation for each pronoun, which is, besides being not great for the gender neutrality, it's also sucks for learning. You just have to study so much more. Just in English, you just put an S on it and you just wing it. So that is easy. Then English kinda took like the easier parts of the grammar than from Latin and from Germanic as well. I think the only thing that is hard in English is nailing the pronunciation, because it's very inconsistent. But then again as well, you do not have to nail the pronunciation all the time. It just has to be understandable, that's what matters. So, my pea protein burger is ready. 1 hour and 10 minutes in.
Eating burgers in the middle of the night.
It's 7 here. So,
if you were like 70 years old, that would be like the middle of the night, right?
Indeed. Time is relative, as we all know. I hope you enjoyed our episode today on the HellColonies server. Tomorrow we will be back on the schematic server as well, working on the Incan style, so I hope you will be joining us tomorrow again. Thanks everyone for tuning in and engaging in the chat with us. I hope you had fun today. If you want to support our project, consider becoming a Patreon, because that's the only real income stream we have, basically. I'm glad everyone was here today. Thanks, Sam, as always, for tuning in as well, not leaving me here alone.
Yeah, sure.
John will be on a dentist appointment. That sounds painful. So, good night, everyone, or good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Ciao, ciao, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Good night.